because the rest could just be like.
Is that what it looks like while you're editing? When you're editing, you're just making all those little moves.
Vorgede, Sargede. Yeah, it's all of that.
Tiljure, Forster. I would love to put together a remix of just Age of Empires sounds and see if you could make a whole track, because that is such like a rhythmic, like percussive sound. That one is.
Oh yeah. I bet it exists, and if it does, it's going at the end of the podcast as a treat that we wouldn't have even heard.
Oh, let's find it now. Episode 4. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you locked? Are you loaded? Are you ready to podcast?
I'm locked. I'm loaded.
Episode 4 of Pushing Buttons commencing in 3, 2, 1, go. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Pushing Buttons, the video games podcast run by two fellas who like to chat. I'm Joe Bellum.
I'm Mark. And we really know our stuff, and I think we've proved that by now.
Yeah, we do know our stuff. There's still gaps in our knowledge, Mark, but we're ready to fill those gaps with cement. And by that, I mean more games chat.
Cement it with our words to bring people together.
And use commas and semicolons like tiny bits of grout in the gaps between your shower and bathtub.
And it together will form a seal that will stop any leaks getting through, apart from leaks that pertain to some of the news we have today.
Which is quite a lot, because good segue, Mark. We've got a lot of news today. Our news is bursting at the banks like a flooded river. But we're going to start off with just a nice little intro here. Thank you for all of your top 10s that you've been sending in over the last few weeks. We've got more top 10 through today. We've loved looking at what your favourite games are. And, you know, when we've set out to do this podcast, we knew that we would be dishing out some very salty opinions. So apologies if any of you have been offended by those opinions that we've said. But at the same time, I'm not sorry at all, because we know better than you. I think that's fair to say.
Actually, I got told we were too tame.
Really?
So,
oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, well, let's put on some more of that sodium. So thank you for those top 10s.
And boy, oh boy, are there a lot of them. They also seem to take up quite a bit of time. So we thought we'd kind of give episode 4 a bit of breathing room to get your top 10s out there. This might be the last week we do this.
We've had so many top 10s, and they, like you said, they take quite a long time to get through. But we love chatting about them, and it's also, not only do we get to know the listeners, but you get to know us because you're hearing our feedback about games and such.
Yeah, so if we do get any latecomers, maybe we'll fit in one a week and kind of sprinkle them about. But we're kind of dedicating a lot of time this week to, talk about them, get them in, squish them into an hour.
I was going to say, squeeze them in like a corset of games, an ample overflowing bosom of top 10s. Like you just said, we also do have a lot of news to get through on this podcast. We have loads of hot news stories to talk about and cover. So the combination of that and all the top 10s, that's really what we're going to be focusing on this week. However, we do want to just kind of raise that in a future episode, we're going to be talking about the sometimes shambolic treatment of video games being turned into films and television. That's fair to say, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also just been announced some new TV endeavors in the video game world, such as The Last of Us. And just this week, they've announced they're going to do a Fallout TV show. So we'll talk about that when we get round to it a little bit more. But we'd love to know what you have thought about previous video games, TV and films. Second little piece of housekeeping. Are you blowing your nose while I'm talking, Mark?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
That's all right. It's good to know that you're keeping it clean. We have got some special guests lined up for future episodes, so keep an eye out for that. But I just thought I'd say, we want to know who you'd like to hear on the show. If you've got anyone in mind from the entertainment world, specifically video games, within reason, because obviously we're just a couple of idiots that don't really know anyone important. But if you just give us a suggestion, because we love to reach out to people that also like to talk about games. So, Mark, what have you been playing since we last talked?
I've been playing Divinity 2 Original Sin Enhanced Edition.
Ooh, that enhancedness.
So I played the first one a while back and was like, what the heck is this? This is naff. It didn't seem to blend the story elements, the lore, the world lore, and humour very well. It was a mess, is what I'm saying. I think the game was trying to be too much to too many people.
Well, you don't want to do that. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. However, it took me a while to get into it, but I've been getting into Divinity 2, and the combat system's great. They've toned down the humour side of it so that it actually feels like a game that cares about itself and not some sort of drunken mess joke. No, it's pretty good. Yeah, I've got a 4-player party on the go. We're playing it like we would D&D, and that's fun. And I'm also playing a 2-player campaign with a mate of mine.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so we're just enjoying that.
Everything is always more fun with friends.
Absolutely,
that's fair to say, Mark.
What about you?
I'm still going at Ori and the Will of the Wisps on Xbox One via Game Pass, and thoroughly enjoying it. The gameplay in that game is absolutely superb. It's emotional. Some sad things have happened. The only thing I would say is it's driving me a little bit mad, because with these kind of games, I suppose you call it a Metroidvania thing. I have to 100% it. I need to find every single item and every single unlockable thing.
Right.
And there is one little like energy cell that I just have no clue how to get to. So I won't stop playing the game until I get it. But I'm absolutely loving it, and I would hugely suggest anybody that has access to Games Pass. I think you can get it on PC as well.
You can with the Games Pass, but it is on Steam, I think.
Yeah, anyone who has access to that, I would hugely recommend playing it, because it's absolutely brilliant. I also picked up my Nintendo Switch for the first time in about 2 months.
Oh,
I know, yeah, which I felt really bad about, because I do love that console, but because I've been house ridden, I normally only play my Switch on the move, so I've been mainly playing on my Xbox. But I picked it up and I looked on the game store and couldn't think of anything to download, so I got the demo for Picross, which is a puzzle game, and I played that for 10 minutes and quite enjoyed it. But I probably will never touch that again. So I need a new game for the Switch, is what I'm saying, Mark.
What about 51 games for the Switch?
51 worldwide, yes. Clubhouse Games, 51 worldwide classics. How many games are in it?
One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Could you check? I never knew he'd count this fast.
Oh, it's 51, Joe.
51 games. That is quite a lot of games, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a lot of games.
I feel like they should have made more of a big deal about how many games there are within that collection of games, because it's quite a large amount. It was 51, wasn't it? 51. That's quite a lot of games. Yeah, maybe I was thinking about getting that. That's what I've been playing. That's what you've been playing. We've had some lovely listeners get in touch with us again, Mark, which is a lovely, warm feeling when you know that people are listening to what you're saying and doing, and they respond to you.
We've got loads of top 10s that we'll get to in a minute. So if you weren't read last week, hey, this could be a chance. If you're not read this week, we'll get to you. Whoa, back up, behind the red line.
Hey,
social distance.
Hey, cool your beans. Pop them in the fridge, because we'll get to you. All right. Flipping heck. We've had an email from he's fast becoming our favourite listener. I'm talking personally, because he provides a level of insight that is truly top tier, and he's definitely the smartest guy that's been in touch with us so far, from what I can see, because a lot of the other people that are getting in touch with us are just our thick friends. But I'm of course talking about Lawal Mohammed. He's been a listener since day dot, Mark. And if you listened last week, you would have heard his personal top 10. And there are a couple on there that we didn't know, one of which was Guardian Heroes. And he sent in a lovely email with some footage from the original and also the remaster that came out on the Xbox 360. And it actually looked like a really fun game. It looked like it was kind of combining like side-scrolling beat-em-up elements with RPG-style stuff going on. Hey, it looked like a fun game. And I reckon if I had been around when it came out originally on the Sega Saturn, I probably would have played that. He also was kind enough to score episode 3 of the Pushing Buttons podcast 8 toasted waffles glazed with sugar and hot takes out of 10. He's just been nice about our podcast, Mark, and which is really nice. So I appreciate that review. I just want to know how we get those extra 2 toasted glazed waffles with sugar and hot takes, because we give us 8. I just want those extra 2. I've got, you know me, I've got a bit of a sweet tooth. I want those sweet treats. I need those extra 2 waffles, Lawal. Let me know what I can do to get them from you. I need to visit your bakery and buy the sweet goods.
So we're bribing him for the 2 points. Excellent.
Exactly. And then Mark, he responded to our chat about the console war a little bit, didn't he? Which was nice of him.
He did. He has written, if Microsoft bring the Project X cloud streaming out of beta for the next gen, and they give me the flexibility of playing at home by streaming to my PC, then that plus my Nintendo Switch back catalogue will keep me a very happy gamer. I also prefer the variety and value of releases on Game Pass to the exclusives on PS5. There's a comma or something missing here, but would require time in front of the TV that in my household is hard to come by. In brackets, he's written 4-year-old and twins, so he's got his hands full.
Got some little babbies.
By contrast, the competition is much better at facilitating my needs.
So he's very much planting himself firmly in the Nintendo and Microsoft camp. Similar to me, currently, I must add. And yeah, I mean, I hugely agree with him about the value of Game Pass versus what PS5 have to offer. I think from what we talked about, and I still stand true on, is I will not make a decision until I see what Microsoft have to offer in terms of games, because PS5, man, they have the games so far.
You know what? Some people would call that sensible.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. It is a sensible place to be. I mean, why would you having done it with the Xbox One, I'm not going to get a console that has 0 games to play on it. It's just fact.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
I hear you.
Just a quick one. My friend Matt Freeman got in touch saying that he's never played Ocarina of Time before, but then said, I've played Wind Waker. That's basically the same, right? I mean, I've known Matt for a long time, and he's said a lot of things, but that is the worst take I've ever heard.
I think that's one way to get shot in the back before you get in a helicopter, I'd say.
You're flipping one. Good callback, Mark. Someone's got his head screwed on and his ears on, right? Exactly. It's a terrible. I mean, I love Wind Waker, brilliant game, but it is not the same as Ocarina of Time, the greatest game of all time. Matthew Freeman.
Should we get on some top 10s? Oh no, you've got something.
Oh yeah, and one more little bit before the top 10s. We have had some lovely reviews come in on the Apple Podcast platform. Thank you so much to anyone who's taken the time to do that. I had a little read of them last night, and it's just very, very nice. If you are listening now, if you have the time, please do hop on to Apple Podcast, the platform, and give us a little review. All you have to do is click how many stars you'd like to give it. I'm sorry, Lawal, you have to use the star system as opposed to the waffle-based system that you've talked about. Give us a little star review, and if you can, type a few words saying, yeah, I liked it, or meh, was okay, I suppose. But anything you can say would be lovely, because it does just help the podcast get shared a little bit more. So that would be nice.
Yeah, we appreciate that a lot.
Should we go into the news?
Let's do it. Jingle time. It's the news. That was awful.
Yeah, get rid of that.
Crash 4 will have microtransactions. Wait, no, Crash 4 will not have microtransactions. So basically, there was a huge outcry from people saying, why Activision, why is Crash 4 going to have microtransactions? Jim Sterling put out a video basically saying Blizzard and Activision are garbage and are the stink and the filth and the filch of the earth and should be put down.
He really went in hard, didn't he?
Oh, he went in so hard and did this whole video on it, and then the day after. I think it's Toys for Bob.
Yeah, it is.
Or the Crash, the main Crash Twitter came out and said, "Whoa, what's going on? Where's all this come from? Crash 4, we guarantee will not have microtransactions, and we're giving away the super tubular skins for free on every platform, just as a little hey, everyone's getting these skins." So that's a nice gesture.
Yeah.
I don't care about the skins, but it's a gesture.
Yeah. And you wonder how much of that was a response to the absolute outcry that there could be microtransactions. Maybe they weren't originally planning on giving those skins away for free, and they thought, "Hey, this will sweeten the deal and make us look really fly."
I think those skins were part of a different version or just on a certain platform. I'll have to check.
They've won everyone back around by dispelling all those rumors, basically. Next, Xbox first-party game showcase announced for 23rd of July. So in about 3 weeks' time, 2-3 weeks' time. Halo confirmed. They put out a little teaser for Halo, and we know they're going to be doing a lot about that. Fable and Perfect...
Shocker.
Yeah, I know. Fable and Perfect Dark rumoured to appear. Mark, it's a big one. We talked about that on the console war. We have a date for when the showcase is going to be. You looking forward to it?
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can sit all high and mighty on my golden throne that is the PC Master Race cloud. Look down below at the war the peasants are fighting.
Wow.
And I'm just playing up to the PC Master Race thing.
Okay,
I don't think this at all. I'm
fine.
genuinely looking forward to seeing what was going to happen. PlayStation just completely obliterated this particular gen.
Yeah.
And Xbox have no games.
Yeah.
Are they? I mean, it looks like those are 3 old franchises. Bungie, they don't have Bungie with them anymore.
No.
Fable died a horrible death. 2 and 3 were awful. So, I mean, it still looks bleak. Even with these rumors, it still looks bleak. But you never know.
Yeah, I think
Phil Spencer came out saying he's looking forward to it and that he's happy.
yes.
So I'm waiting with bated breath.
We will see what they do. I, of course, am very, very excited. I think the thing that I want more than anything is like just a new franchise, a new IP that is a surprise. So that's what I think they need. Obviously, they'll win a lot of fans by bringing back some nostalgic things, and I think there would be a lot of love for a really fresh take on Fable that is really good. I think a lot of people would really go crazy for that. But I think, yeah, they just need to bring out some things that look really, really surprising and exciting to get people going.
I think also it'd be nice. Because PlayStation didn't do this, they should show the UI.
Yeah, agree. That would be amazing if they did that. I mean, they are very much saying they've called it Xbox One Series X Games Showcase. So I'll be very surprised if they show anything other than just all of these games. But that would be a really nice little spicy addition.
What's this about the Summer Games Fest demo event?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's a good follow-on. So they've also announced for a similar period from the 21st to the 27th of July on Xbox One, and I assume for PC as well to some extent, they are showcasing 60 brand new game demos showing off upcoming games. It's going to be a lot of indie games, but there is a chance that they might shock people and put out a demo for the new Halo game after it's announced. There's a chance they could do that, but from the looks of it, from what they've announced so far, it is mainly going to be indies. And I think this is basically a way of them showcasing the game demos that they'd usually have available to play on the floor at E3, because obviously when you're at E3, there's loads of like setups of like, oh, you can try this game out, but they're basically putting them on the Xbox for people to play.
So we're going to be playing next gen games on current gen consoles.
Well,
how's that work?
So I mean, part of that is that part of Xbox's philosophy has been that all games will be you'll be able to play all of these games across all of their like family, the Xbox family of consoles, which is something they always talk about. So I don't know if it will mean that, yes, they have like a lower spec version available for the Xbox. Maybe these games are primarily for the current gen. I don't really know about how all that's going to work, but we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, it is a bit of a weird one, that really, because you think at this point, any new games that are they're showing off demos for, you'd think would be for the next gen. But there is always a crossover of like people still clinging on to, the previous generation. So I'm sure they'll still be bringing games out for the Xbox One for a little while.
Yeah. And as you say, if it's mainly indies, they'll probably be pretty cross-platform / compatible anyway.
You'd think so. But I think it's a pretty cool idea because, game demos and the idea of demos is something that doesn't really exist that much anymore. You remember, the days of getting a demo disc and trying out various games and then going and buying the game. I think it's a really good idea. And also with indie games, often it's difficult to be sold on the concept because there isn't as much out there in terms of like massive gameplay or trailers and all that kind of thing. So I think actually getting hands-on time with the game that's what happened with me with Slay the Spire, the card-based RPG game. I played it a little bit on Xbox Game Pass and then thought this is going to be the perfect game for the Nintendo Switch. Bought it on my Switch instead. So I do think it could be a good idea. This next little one is pretty cool for you.
It's just a couple of release dates, just to let you know, because we mentioned them in a previous episode. Rogue Legacy 2 has a release date of July 23rd, so that's pretty soon. Also, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition has a release date of 7th of August 2020 on the PC.
That's exciting, though, because I want to play that game. I don't have a PC. You've got a PC. Maybe you could stream it and I could watch you playing it.
Hey, I'll stream it and we'll... get my live reactions of whether that really is one of the best games ever created, unquote, Marcus Dello.
Okay. Yeah, well, that is exciting. So that'll be really good. What do you know what the complete edition means for Horizon Zero Dawn?
Complete edition means, I think it's all the DLC and any extra content. It just in one edition.
I wasn't expecting some Hugh Grant to try and sell me on Horizon Zero Dawn the complete edition as much as he just did. It all sounds very exciting though, and that's good. This next one, Min Min from ARMS, has been added to Smash Bros. The world celebrates the inclusion of a character that nobody knows into the best fighting game of this generation. Min Min from ARMS.
Yeah. PS5 has a price rumor. This is in euros, so you'll have to convert it yourself, or maybe Bellum can do that for me now. The digital edition, 399 euros. The optical drive edition, 499 euros, which basically says if you buy the optical one, you're stupid.
So 399 euros is currently £359, and 499 euros is currently £449. So that's fairly kind of what you expect, I suppose. Maybe it's slightly cheaper.
It's kind of affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like in an area where you'd want to potentially pay that amount. So
kind of makes sense, I think.
If Xbox are the same price and they've got games, if they're cheaper and they've got games.
Yeah, well, this I
mean, who knows?
I think
we don't know.
I think that Xbox are going to put out the Lockhart, which is their like digital console that's been rumored, at 300. That's what my hot tip is. Speaking of PlayStation, they've announced the Indies Initiative, which is where they're Shuhei Yoshida, who is the kind of heading up their Indies Initiative, has announced 9 new games for PS4 and PS5. Some of them look really, really nice. So that's good that PlayStation are still blowing the horn for indie games.
NBA 2K21, the game we can't wait to never play that. It will have microtransactions, shocker, and the next gen Mamba Forever version will be 70 quid for some reason. Don't know why.
I think the reason why they're charging more for it is because that it will be compatible with both the current gen and the next gen. And they're charging more for that, and it's weird because
for the same
game and Xbox
and PC, you can buy both versions for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. The whole pricing of that game is just incredibly incredibly but also bizarre. But it does potentially peel back the curtain on prices for next generation games. Currently looking like they're going to be about £65 to £70, which is a lot of money.
So dumb. They're too expensive now. 50 quid for Mario paper.
Well, fresh
Ridiculous.
Switch games can often be up to like $59.99. I just think you've got to think about the consumer, and like you're outpricing the everyday gamer by charging £70 for a game. Next up, there's a new Ubisoft made, or Ubisoft, I don't know what you want to say.
I say Ubi.
Yeah, Ubisoft Battle Royale game coming out called Hyperscape, which so far they've only showed PC footage from, but apparently it is coming to consoles too. It's basically a battle royale with the focus on verticality. It's got a lot of jump pads and jumping onto rooftops and all that kind of thing. So therefore, it's a kind of a much smaller area. It's set in sort of a digital version of Paris, and it looks like it's kind of. There's a lot. From what I've seen, the gameplay looks like a bit of a hark back to the days of Unreal Tournament and Quake, with the kind of huge jumping, boosting. The weapons look a little bit Unreal Tournament Quakey. But I'm not. I don't need another battle royale personally. But people who are looking for a fresh take on it might enjoy this.
I watched some gameplay of it and just thought it looked really dull. I'd suggest if you want to get into battle royales, just play Apex Legends or Warfare,
Warzone.
Warzone from Call of Duty. But the Warzone version is literally just Call of Duty on a bigger map.
Yes.
And it's fine. And Apex Legends is fast paced, has loads of characters and stuff, and will probably scratch that itch for something different. This looks like another one.
I think
and watch it done.
Give it a little look. You might like what you see. And just to finish off the news, speaking of Ubisoft, they have their conference showing off new games.
Is their conference? Sorry to cut in. Is their conference? Is their conference like? Is it going to be released like incomplete and really buggy and just total trash?
Halfway through the conference, they're going to upload a patch for it. So you have to wait while that downloads, and then they'll show the rest of it.
It's going to be so good.
So that's going to happen this weekend. I say this weekend. It might have already happened. No, when this podcast is released, it will be this weekend. They'll be showing off the new Watch Dogs game, Watch Dogs Legion, which is set in London, which does actually have me quite excited for it.
Yeah,
it looks actually really good. Well, do Ubisoft, they do Assassin's Creed?
Yeah.
So they'll be showing off Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the new game, among some other things. Only thing that I want from that showcase is another Rayman Origins Legends type game. I would absolutely love that, because those two games were superb, and I know some of our friends that listen to this show would also be well up for that.
And also just maybe an updated version of Uno, because I think they could manage that.
I wasn't expecting you to say that.
I mean, just to clarify, if you're listening to the podcast on the weekend that it's released, it's also the same weekend that the conference is happening. Does that help?
That's what. No. That makes the most sense out of everything we've said. July the 12th. Here you go. Tune into Ubisoft. Tune into Ubisoft Forward, July 12th, 12 p.m. PDT. So that'll be later. It'll be in the evening of July the 12th. If you want to look at all the upcoming games by Ubisoft.
Right. Top 10s. Should we do it?
Yeah, I feel like we need to have a little jingle for this, because the top 10 seems to be a recurring segment, doesn't it? So should we just, how about this?
Okay.
Do you like to play some games? I do like to play some games. What is your top 10?
I'm really annoyed that I like that a lot.
I was expecting disdain, but you paused for long enough to make me realise that you kind of enjoyed it.
Oh, I really like it.
It's got a little bit of a calypso feel to it.
I just like the fact that it ends on no cadence and no rhyme.
Yeah, you've got to discard the rhyme. So who have we got first, Mark?
We've got Orion, or as we know him, Jiggy, who is a friend of ours.
Yeah, he's a good friend,
and he's a good guy. The one thing I would say about him is that for every like sensible and genuinely insightful thing he says about gaming, he says about 5 things that are just terrible, like the worst takes ever.
Listen, he's a good few years younger than us. I would say he's a bit of a Nintendo fanboy. So he's into some of the Nintendo games that we just flat out aren't.
Well, no, some of these are shocking.
Okay. All right. Well, what's his top 10, Mark?
Here we go. Hollow Knight, tied for number one place with Pokemon Fire Red.
Great. I absolutely love Hollow Knight. Sorry to interject. One of my favourite games on Nintendo Switch. Hugely recommend.
It's amazing. Yeah, so that's great. Pokemon Fire Red, it's fine. Take it or leave it. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, great game. Great.
We've waxed lyrical about that for a long time. We love it.
Stardew Valley. I've not played it.
I've played
You
it.
have?
I've played it a lot. It's do you know what? I actually think it's a better game than Animal Crossing. Just saying.
Ooh, yeah, I can imagine that.
There's just way more to do.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Sorry.
Probably could be. Mass Effect 3. Oh, you were so close, Jiggy. Picked the wrong one. Rocket League, which is a great game.
Yeah. It makes sense for him because he is exceptional at it.
Yeah. I mean, just for context, he is like on the borderline of pro.
Yeah.
He's like in the top. He's top. He's up there. Anyway, Nintendo Land. I mean, this is just, it's all gone to pot. What is that?
I really want to think he's joking, but I just know he isn't. Yeah, I can't make any comment on that. Well, I haven't played it. That was a Nintendo Wii U thing, right? Nintendo Land. He was one. So. I think he is the only person I know. Actually, no. Him and another pal of mine called Ash both own a Wii U. Yeah, can't comment on that other than just have a little chuckle. Sorry.
Journey. I've not played it again, so I can't really.
That's meant to be exceptional. That's PS3 game, one game of the year on various outlets. Very kind of like. Story immersive kind of thing. So yeah, kudos on that.
Cool. Dragon Quest V. Again, not played it, but I'm sure it's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dragon Quest looks great.
It looks a bit silly for me, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Is that the one with the little? Is that one with the little blue goop boy?
Yeah, it's the little blue goopers.
Blue gooper.
And finally, Mario Kart 8.
Right, he hasn't said deluxe, which makes me think he's specifically talking about the Wii U version.
The thing is that Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 8 were like super boring, bland Mario Karts.
Yeah.
I think Wii is better, the original DS one is better, and Deluxe is better.
You're right, there is something bland about them. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
7 and 8 were so bland.
I think it is great. So that this is the one we've played a lot on the Switch. I do really, really enjoy it, but it is a little bit dead behind the eyes. Do you know what I mean? As in, it's doing it. It's there. It's appearing in front of us, and we're enjoying it. But it's got no heart.
Well, Mario Kart 8, the original version, is even worse for that.
Well, okay, there you go.
I think he would have played 8 before he played Deluxe, and therefore sees Deluxe as a rehash, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah.
But I think the rehash is still better than the original.
Yeah, unless he does mean Deluxe. He might mean it. He just hasn't.
He might mean Deluxe, but I don't think he does.
Okay.
So, fair enough.
I hear you there. Okay, I think next up we've actually got a friend of Jiggy, a fellow named Taib, and we've got his top 10, and it's all written in caps lock, which is quite stressful at this time in the morning. First up, we got Hotline Miami. Now, this is a game I've heard loads about and never got round to playing, but I hear is absolutely brilliant.
It's superb.
Yeah,
I've played it, yeah.
Yeah, I really need to give it a go. Apparently, the soundtrack is absolutely great on it as well. I've heard.
Yes, it's great. It's high octane action. It's puzzly. It's got great music. It's got a good aesthetic.
Yeah.
I rate this.
Is that on Switch?
Don't know. Don't think so.
Well, it should be. It seems like the perfect Switch game. Next up, we've got Portal 2. Portal 2.
2.
I really like Portal 2. I think it's a good debate between 2 and 1. I played 1 a little bit more, but 2 is very funny.
I like them both.
2's got Stephen Merchant doing the VO, I believe.
It is, yeah. Played Wheatley.
Yes, indeed.
I think I like them both. I just have a very slight preference for 1.
Okay.
But I can't argue with people saying they like 2 because they're both great.
No. Need for Speed Underground 2.
I never got into it.
No,
I never understood the PlayStation 2 obsession with Need for Speed Underground 2.
No, I never bought into the Need for Speed franchise at all, I'm afraid. I was always, like we've talked before, a Burnout guy over Need for Speed just because it was a bit more silly and less...
But there are so many people that look back and go, oh, Need for Speed Underground, it was so good. And I'm like, it wasn't. What's going on here? Why is everyone like this?
Just everyone loves hitting that button and getting some NOS straight into their veins and
Mate, you do that on Burnout and it's way better.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, Flat Out 2. Which he says is an iconic racing game. I've never heard of it. What is it?
I think Flat Out was essentially, hey, we're gonna make Burnout, but worse.
Yeah, it does look like Burnout.
Everyone went, okay, I'm gonna play Burnout now, or Need for Speed Underground.
Yeah, it does look like Burnout.
So I don't know what he's on about.
Yeah, I can't really comment on that, to be honest. This is the first I've heard of it, but from looking at screenshots now, I mean, yeah, it looks quite fun. A whole lot of like motion blur and bloom going on in the graphics by the looks of it. Next up, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah. It was a big game at the time.
Yeah. I've said before, I only played the first Modern Warfare and then stopped with Call of Duty after that, but I really enjoyed the first one. Okay, next one I can really agree with, and I'm surprised hasn't been mentioned up until this moment. Time Splitters 2. Oh, what a game.
Oh, it's just so fun. So fun.
The multiplayer and the solo campaign on that, but mainly the multiplayer on that game was just horrendously fun. And also, you could do sort of single player versus computer opponents, but basically it ran the same as, like, you know, PvP multiplayer, but there was so much to unlock. There were so many challenges and things to do. Oh, it was so much fun. And there were loads of weird, like, mutations of the normal game types, and like, it was just so much to do. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the characters, I just remember the little monkey running around.
Yeah. I actually have a real soft spot for Future Perfect. Was it called? Future.
The third one.
Yeah. Time Splitters 2 is like the iconic one, but I had so much fun on Future.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
it
they
was
were
such
both
a
great.
rip-off. Chronicles of Riddick as well. It was really funny.
Yeah,
stupid sense of humour. But yeah, I used to play as the monkey because it was like playing as Oddjob because it was short, and then I'd use the flare guns because none of my friends could use flare guns because they did like a corkscrewing action through the air and no one knew how to aim them. But I just nailed it.
I don't remember the flare guns.
So I just like fire them across the entire map, and they'd be like, "How the hell are you hitting me? You're cheating!"
God, you have some deep voiced friends, man. I also I have a feeling that some of the developers that worked on the Time Splitters series were also were from the original Rare Studios that did like GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, because it had a very similar first person aesthetic.
Yeah.
Just more reason why it was great. Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. I had that on the PS2. It's a very good racing sim, but we've talked about racing sims before, how it's just not really my favourite cup of tea, but it was a very, very good racing sim.
Yes, and we appreciate that people like it and that it's in your list. So good on you.
One thing I will say is that on the soundtrack to that was a brilliant track by Feeder. The one that goes, all by myself, da-na-na-na-da, da-na-na-na-da. But you think I'm funny now, you're my friend. We'll get you'll get copyrighted if I sing more of that. But yeah, that was a huge track. I think it was on the soundtrack for that. Mirror's Edge next.
That's a rogue shout.
Yeah, a beloved game though.
I don't think I ever played it, but I always thought it looked interesting, and that was about it.
It was one of those similar to Skate, where people played Mirror's Edge and thought it was the best thing ever, and everyone was crying out for a sequel, and it didn't come for years, and then they were like, "It's happening. You asked for it." And they announced Mirror's Edge 2. And it was a flop, so they should never have asked for the sequel. But the first Mirror's Edge was really fondly eaten up and digested. Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
He's wrong. Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1 is the best Tekken.
Oh, but, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, so you're close, but you're wrong.
Close, but no cigar. Metal Gear Solid 5. Big boy, fan of that. Love it. Mark, don't you love the Metal Gear Solid franchise?
Oh, do you know what? I don't like Metal Gear Solid. I don't like Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima.
I was trying to do a pun, but I couldn't come up with
one. You're trying to do a pun. Sorry. Yeah, I just corrected you.
Yeah. However, Metal Gear Solid 5 definitely has an air of something else about it that looks fun. I've enjoyed watching people play that one, regardless of the fact you couldn't tie up any plot threads and there's basically no story and the cutscenes are too long. Apart from all that, actually gameplay-wise and sort of sandboxy-wise, it does look like more fun than the franchise has ever offered. And I would say that's the game that potentially got me closer to playing any Metal Gear Solid, even though I'd never play it.
Yeah, I agree. I played through pretty much all. I need to finish it actually, but I played through pretty much all of Metal Gear Solid 5, and it is really fun. Basically, taking the concept of Metal Gear Solid and putting it into a much more open world environment. Yeah, really, really fun. I enjoyed that game a lot. Okay, we've got another.
Is this another friend, Rylan?
Yeah, that's another one of Jiggy's mates.
Cool. Well, let's get straight into his top 10.
Okay.
This is just shout after shout after shout, really.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple that I don't really know what they are. Psychonauts,
Great.
which is just a superb game, and I completely forgot about it. But yeah, well, just great.
I have never actually played it, but I've watched Joe Novelli play it quite a lot, and it looks mad in the best way possible. So I really need to give it a go.
That looks great. Hollow Knight again, which is, again,
Excellent.
we love it. Dark Souls, hell yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Love it. Talked about that enough. Cuphead.
Ooh.
I think it's fair to say we love that as
Yeah,
well.
we love that. He's really
Love the
gone
art
for
style.
the like punishing games here, and I really appreciate that.
Undertale, which I have played. It's good.
So many. Yeah, I could. There's some kind of gastric situation going on with
Yeah,
you there.
sorry.
So many people rate Undertale as like this. It's got a huge cult following, but so many people think it's like one of the best games ever made. I've never played it, but all of the clips or like gameplay I've seen from it looks boring as hell. In that the gameplay looks crap.
It's an interesting game because
Is it just like really meta?
It's super meta. It's one of those games where actually, in many ways, it's rubbish, but actually, it's very like sweet and clever, and the music is superb, and it just has a lot of character and a lot of charm.
Yeah.
But it's kind of rubbish, but equally, because of all those reasons, it's not rubbish, and
Yeah.
it kind of deserves praise. It's it's decent, and it's made it into Ryland's top 10, so he clearly he rates it.
Yeah, it seems to have a lot of charm, and I'm sure one day I'll give it a go.
Next up, Sid Meier's Pirates. And then next he's got Time Splitters 2, which is a great shout. And it's
Yeah.
good to see that one back again.
Yeah, we love Time Splitters too.
Next up is Dishonored.
Dishonored, brilliant game. I really, really like it. We mentioned a few episodes back. Oh, it was when we were talking about Arcane Studios' new game, Deathloop.
Yes.
I really like the vibe of Dishonored. How do you feel?
I neither dislike it or like it. I couldn't get into it. It doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the time and place for me when it came out.
Yeah,
It's like a lost love. It's too late.
I hear you.
So I can't really comment either way.
Next up, it looks like he's made up a game here for the 9th one.
Yeah, Champions of Norath, which is a
Gonna Google that.
2004 hack and slash that I'm looking up as we speak.
Ooh, I don't know. That cover art
it
really hits something within me that I feel like I might recognize it.
It actually looks pretty Dark Soulsy in a hack and slash kind of way. It looks
but
like Diablo meets Dark Souls.
Isn't it like?
So I
It's
don't really-
top down. Yeah, we can't comment on that, but kudos, bro.
Yeah, and then Rocket League again. So he must be one of
Jiggy's squad.
Jiggy's regular Rocket League buddies. It's a great game. It would never make it into a top 10 because it's an arcadey football car game. But apart from that, it's good.
Yeah, agree. Next up, we had another mutual friend of ours, Mide Nike, and he just opted for 2 games. I know he's not a big gamer, and I had asked for top 10s, but he's just given us 2. He's gone specifically with PES 08, Pro Evolution Soccer 8. Well, no, not Pro Evolution Soccer 8. Pro
It's
Evolution
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart DS. But he actually only refers to the Mario Kart games, very confusingly, as Mario games. And we often think he means, the platformers, but no, he means Mario Kart by just saying Mario.
Yeah, he considers the Mario Kart games the only Mario games,
Yeah.
which is a take.
It's a take. It's a wrong take.
Is this another friend of yours, Bella?
This is Alex Norbury, my good friend. So, Mark, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, he has written Quake 3 Arena on the Dreamcast.
Whoa, is that the first Dreamcast mention?
I think it is, yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine recently that was reminiscing about the Dreamcast and was very sad about how that console sort of just faded into the mist.
Well, it was way ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It just came out at a really weird time, sort of in between generations. And nobody really knew what it was.
We've got James Bond 007 Nightfire, which actually is a really, really good game.
That is a hugely solid shout.
Yeah, what a game. Team Fortress 2, PC/Xbox.
Mm-hmm, great.
Yeah, really good. Portal 2. Portal on
Stop
Xbox.
it now. Stop it.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Fight like a Krogan, run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard.
Hey.
Last of Us on the PlayStation. Pokemon Diamond, Nintendo DS.
Okay.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Xbox.
Nice.
Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii.
Oh, what a game! I'm surprised.
Probably my favourite.
Yeah. How has that not been mentioned yet?
I don't know. It's genuinely my favourite Mario 3D vibe.
It's excellent. I mean, I can't really disagree with that.
And then he's written Overwatch on the PlayStation, which is interesting. I've invested a good amount of time in Overwatch. I think it is excellent. I can't imagine playing it on a console because all the major stuff happens on PC and also analog sticks and FPS. Me no likey.
No, okay.
So, but yeah. And then he's put reserve or honourable mentions, Breath of the Wild, Switch, but only because I haven't finished the main story yet. I've basically just run around saying, oh, cool, what's over there for 100 hours.
That's legit.
He also mentions as a side note, Overwatch wins for hours invested plus love to hate relationship, which I guess is a sign of true love.
Yeah, fair dues.
But it is a good game. Like, I can't really knock Overwatch. It's
I've
well crafted.
I've never played it, but I've always wanted to. Okay, next I've got a friend called Tyler Harding, who I know is big into games. He says he's always been a gigantic fan of anything narrative driven. So my favourite games are The Last of Us 1 and 2. Would love to hear your take on 2. Well,
I haven't played it.
It has just come out and it's been polarizing in terms of I've seen a lot of fans being upset about it, but I think that's mainly just because of story choices. So, like, if you don't like it, tough luck. But I've heard some very good things, and I have actually started watching somebody play through it.
I would recommend watching Video Game Donkey's review of it, because he sort of slam dunks a lot of these people that are complaining about story choices.
Oh, does he? Okay.
And gives it a more well-rounded view and basically says what you want about. Get a grip.
Cool, all right, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I mean, I as I didn't have a PS3 or PS4, I missed playing the first Last of Us game, and I'm very upset about that. But I have watched playthroughs of it, and like I said, I'm watching a playthrough of 2, and just excellent games. Similarly, he said Uncharted 2, 4, 3, then 1. Again,
I think I agree with that order as well.
Would you? Have you played all of the Uncharted games?
I don't think I played 4, but certainly 2, 3, 1 I'd agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really excellent. One would look quite dated and clunky now. But they just nail characters and stuff and character development really well.
That's just Naughty Dog, man. That's so
great.
good at it.
Yeah. Excellent.
Next up, season 1 of Telltale's The Walking Dead. Again, hugely agree. That was such a good game. I just wish they had nailed it as hard as they did in subsequent seasons of that game, but season 1 was just next level, and also great that it had the 2 main leads were people of color, and it was a huge game changer in terms of like narrative storytelling, and just a brilliant game. Really, really loved it, and zombies are great.
I didn't play them, but I did play Wolf Among Us, which was excellent.
Oh, Wolf Among Us is so good. I love that game. They've announced they're doing another series of that, which is exciting.
Woohoo!
Spider-Man PS4, so not Spider-Man 2, which is what you said in your top 10, but this is the recent one, 2018 version. Yeah, I've heard brilliant things about that. Would love to play it. Horizon Zero Dawn, we've already covered that, heard good things. Spec Ops The Line is a game that I haven't played, but is another one that I hear has a brilliant story.
Don't know that one myself. Sure, it's great.
And then we've got God of War PS4.
So that'll be old man Kratos and
yes, it will. Boy. Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was really good. couldn't tell if it was a burp or you saying boy, but it was really good.
A bit of both. I just had lunch, so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, another flipping game that I'm very sad to be missing out on is God of War not having a PS4. So, all more reasons why I probably have to get a PS5 because I need to be able to play all these. And then he's got some special mentions I'll quickly go through. Crash Bandicoot, Star Wars Battlefront 2, both of them, Tony Hawk's, Up to Underground 2, and the Max Payne trilogy.
Excellent. Yeah, I like that list.
Yeah.
He has written mega special mentions. So
mega. Sorry, I missed that word.
They're
mega.
obviously close to his heart.
And then we've got one more top 10 here, I believe.
Yeah. Do you want to read it out? This is actually from one of my mates.
Yeah, I'll read it out. So this is from one of Mark's mates, Ryan Tomey. It's not Tomei.
You pronounced it right, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
No, you got it.
I don't know why it would be Tomei.
Ryan Tomei!
Ryan Tomei! Tomei to you. Ryan Tomei, we have a top 10 here. Favourite games in no particular order. Dino Crisis 2 for PlayStation. I didn't play it. I missed out on that, but
it was basically Resident Evil with dinosaurs, and it was great.
Sick.
So it's a shout.
Good shout. Next up, Soul Calibur 2. Agree with that hugely. Love the Soul Calibur series. Was Soul Calibur 2 the one that had Heihachi in it?
It had Heihachi on PlayStation 2 or Spawn rather on PlayStation 2.
Spawn was on Xbox. Link was on GameCube.
Oh, I've got it all. Yeah, I've got it all around one way around.
Yeah,
right, GameCube, it was Link. Spawn was on Xbox. Heihachi on PlayStation.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
he is correct.
Yeah,
it is the best fighting game ever.
Soul Calibur 2.
Can't remember if that's a good impression or not, but I'm sure it scans.
We'll find out. Will we find out? I don't know. Metal Gear Solid next. Excellent choice. Brilliant game. Love it. Mark doesn't agree. Next up.
Is it the first one?
Yeah, that's the first one. So the PS1. Boy.
So was that any good?
Yeah. Really, really good. That's the one that there's loads of memes of.
Code.
That's the one. I don't know if you remember the Ego Raptor Metal Gear Awesome. Yeah, that was a mixtape of that game, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Then The Last of Us, PlayStation 3, a game that I've always wanted to play, but never owned a PlayStation 3 or 4, so I haven't played it, but I just know that it's excellent.
Excellent. What a shout.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say about that game because we all know it's excellent. I just wish I could play it. So excellent choice, Ryan. Another great shout of Time Splitters 2. Why hasn't it been mentioned yet? He actually says that. Can't believe you haven't mentioned this, and he's right.
Well, it's just been mentioned 3 times in the same podcast, so
it's
we're
weird.
making up.
It is
we're making
weird,
up
that,
for
isn't it? I especially thought Joe Hines would have mentioned that because I know he loves that game a lot.
No, he prefers Sims 2.
Apparently so. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, PlayStation 3, mainly due to the sheer amount of couch multiplayer played over the years. Screen watching is a skill, just saying. I mean, it is
that's been a source of a lot of shouting and anger amongst our friend group.
Yeah.
Because he basically just sits there. He doesn't play the game. He just looks at other people's screen. And there's a lot of people that are saying, well, he says that's a skill. Other people think it's cheating.
Well, I mean, I think you can say it's both, can't you? As in, it's a skill to watch someone else play the game while you play the game, but that doesn't stop it being cheating.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on that, because on the one hand, it sat there right next to you, might as well, but equally, that's dirty. And
you don't look at other people's cards when you're playing poker, do you?
True.
I agree with him, though. That is an excellent game. Like I said, it's the only one I've played a lot of, and I really enjoyed it. Zone of the Enders. Second Runner. Also, some people, I think, called it Zoe. But yeah, Zone of the Enders. I think that was made by Hideo Kojima, I believe. I've never played those games. I believe it's sort of like mechs in space. It's that sort of thing. I might be wrong.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I don't know what it is. I can't tell if it's a fighting game or some sort of... I don't know what it is. But it's Hideo Kojima, so it'll be crap. What's the next game?
Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. Can you please defend your friend here? It looks like park management kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's park management, but you play as a dinosaur trying to escape, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one. Ryan, mate, can you...
it's a construction and management simulation video game. He hasn't played the new one. then called Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah, the new, yeah. Ryan, could you please get in touch and let us know why you've included this in your top 10? Because from all evidence I can see, it looks like poo-poo plops. Next,
and you can also talk about Zone of the Enders.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue.
In fact, just write us an essay about your top 10 in general. Next up, we've got SSX Tricky on PlayStation 2. What a shout! You ever play those games, Mark?
I played Cool Borders back on the PlayStation 1.
Cool Borders?
Yeah, and it went, Cool Borders! And then and it was great.
Yeah, well, I'm not sold on that alone, I'm afraid. SSX Tricky had It's Tricky by Run DMC was the theme, and that was an absolute banger.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's good. That's
ST to rock around, it's right on time, it's tricky. Really good game, really, really fun. It basically had all the elements of like the Tony Hawk's games and made it really silly and fun.
They were good. Like I played them a couple of times. Like snowboarding games were one of those like guilty pleasures that like should have been rubbish but were kind of fun.
Yeah,
wouldn't make it in my top 10, but they're good.
And finally, Crash Bandicoot PlayStation.
Well, he smashed it there, wasn't he? Really, it's a great game. Although I'm surprised, but maybe it's just he seems to be a PlayStation guy, so it must be one that he really played quite early on.
He really does. Yeah, I like I've said before, I wasn't an early PlayStation adopter, and I was always more of a Nintendo guy. So when I eventually got round to playing Crash Bandicoot, I was like, what is this? It's no Mario. But I do have is it the Insane trilogy on the Switch? And I've played the first game and completed it, and enjoyed it. But I just didn't think I just don't get the hype or think the gameplay is very fun. So that's my take on that. But yeah, thanks for the great email. I do like these top 10s. They're fun, Mark.
They are fun, and that's why we've dedicated episode 4 to them.
So, I mean, that's pretty much everything covered this week. We were going to talk about a different topic that I mentioned at the start of the show, but we've just had so much to get through, Mark, that we're going to leave it there this week.
We're going to leave it there. We've got the film, TV, games thing. So send your emails in about that.
That email is pushingbuttonspod@gmail.com. Send us some paragraphs
and follow us on rather.
Have you just lost all energy all of a sudden?
I've lost all lower body function. My arms.
Why has that affected
flapping.
your speech?
I don't know. Follow us on the social media at Twitter at PB Podcast UK and Instagram at Pushing Buttons Pod.
Sadly, we don't have a unified username across Twitter and Instagram because other people have stolen it already. So sorry that's confusing, but please do follow us. Give us your likes, give us your comments, give us your respect.
And remember that you can listen on Spotify, Apple Pod, and YouTube at Pushing Buttons.
Yes, you can. Please do go listen to us there. Hope you have enjoyed this episode, listeners. Thank you so much for listening this week, guys. We've really enjoyed having a bit of fun with you. Tune in next week for more poddy gamey waffle. I've been Joe.
And I've been Mark, and that's been Joe.
Brilliant.
That's classic tag team, that is.
It is, isn't it?
That's...
Now
great.
Play us out with some Age of Empires sounds, Mark.
Goodbye.
Bye.
This is awful.
Yeah, I know. Which is why I definitely think you should include it.
Hummus.
Beep,